Fact, the new HSK will not be out in 2021. How do you know? Because there's no official announcement on the Chinese HSK website, which is www.chinesetest.cn for China. Take a look at the last official tweet about the HSK from the official Chinese HSK Twitter account. Translation: a lot of candidates saw the formal implementation of the new standards on July 1st, 2021, except for it's the future when I'm making this video, but you're watching it from the future. And they think it's time to start studying for the new HSK test, that the standards mean that the HSK test is coming out like right now. Nope, take some time. You know, scientific process and all this. Developing new standards, it's kind of crazy, it takes a moment. And for now, they will begin trials of HSK 7 through 9 in December of 2021. And they will officially launch the level 7 through 9 in March of 2022. And the last part of that says basically it will be one test where you get a score that gives you either HSK 7, 8, or 9. So one test that can give you 3 scores. They use some fancy Chinese, but that's what it means. So yeah, you searched on YouTube for the new books. Maybe you search on Amazon, they just don't exist. So what do? The new tests are coming, you know that. Well, at least the HSK level 7 through 9 are coming. The 1 through 6 hasn't even been announced that they're gonna change for now. So what you do is you must keep using the old books. Let me break it down. If you must prepare for the HSK, then use the old books. Because what's the alternative? Do nothing and wait? Now, you're gonna waste time, and time is valuable for learning Chinese, okay? So if you really want to know the new vocabulary, you can go and get yourself a copy of what's called the Standard for Chinese Proficiency in International Chinese Language Education. I linked it up in the descriptions below. It's a PDF of all the new standards for the new HSK and the new vocabulary sets and all that. And you can go to town and start memorizing all the individual characters that will show up in the exams and all the new words and some old words. You know, have fun with that. Using Chinese flashcards will get me into Mandarin heaven. As the official tweet said, only level 7 and 9 will show up in March of 2022. So here's what you do. If you have not studied your way out of level 6, then use the regular books to study. If you have already studied your way up to and feel like you're about to pass level 6 or even level 5, slow up and realize that the HSK test is just a proficiency test. And in fact, it does not mirror the real life language that's required for speaking and communicating with Chinese people. So in fact, the higher you go, take my word for it, the weirder the vocabulary gets and just the more niche and like esoteric the stuff is that they teach in you. Esoteric meaning that it's just knowledge that not many people know or care about. So if you want to be able to talk to Chinese people, what you do is somewhere around HSK 3, I would say, if you're intermediate, you skip out on the HSK books. So of course, if you need to study them because you're going to go to university in China, then yes, study them. But otherwise, actually no, if you need to study them because you're going to university, then still study them, but supplement with real life stuff. And if you don't need to go to Chinese university, then maybe stop studying after the HSK 3 or 4 at the most, because you start to encounter this law of diminishing returns where you're using and learning vocabulary and grammar that's just not used that much. So cut over to real life stuff like TV shows and movies and magazines and these things that are hard, right? But as you ingest and digest those, you will have a Mandarin that's more useful for talking to real life Chinese people. Why? Because you're reading and watching what they care about. And so by asking them and training your ear to hear things at a faster pace, you will then have and be equipped with a more normal vocabulary set, not the HSK vocabulary set, but one that Chinese people use. And that is the foundation of communication. Ask anybody who studied a language to a high level that's not their native language, and they will tell you studying and studying and studying with the book does not mean that you can communicate. In fact, it usually means you can't. And no matter how good you are on the tests and in class, it will still be difficult for you in real life until you spend enough time communicating with real people. It's what's happening to me right here in Mexico. No, sorry, that's not happening to me. I used a Spanish book for like 3 months total, maybe, and now I just watch stuff on Netflix in Spanish and ask my tutor questions and talk to people outside. But there aren't shortcuts. It's tough watching real media and learning the words and phrases. So don't take shortcuts. Just understand that if you feel like memorizing vocabulary lists is going to help you, it's really limited. You'll get a much more functional Chinese from doing what I had said before. I don't want to harp on you for learning that way. I just want you to know that you could spend your time a lot better focusing on communication. I mean, if you don't know me yet, I teach people how to study Mandarin in an effective way on their own so that they can level up their Chinese and never have to pay for another, or rely on another Chinese class again just to improve. And you can tap or click the screen right there to hear my exact method on how to pass the HSK, or you can apply it to study with me in one of my programs right there. My name is Kwadwo, and I really hope that you learn Chinese deeply so you can communicate with Chinese people and enjoy the Mandarin that you worked so hard on.